This video is going to cover everything about my strategy, my analysis, my breakdowns, and the psychological part when it comes to trading. So, I've been trading seriously under a real, genuine effort. I've been genuinely putting in practice for the past 7 months. So, I started somewhere around October, November of 2025. I actually gave this serious focus. I put aside everything else. So my goal throughout the day was make money. So working a 9 to 5 or doing side hustles and then getting right into the charts and then working on what really matters, which is perfecting my craft, right? Trading comes down to the person. You want to tailor it. You want to have a proven concept and then you want to tailor it that fits to a point where it fits your pace best. What I mean by that is, what does it mean whenever you have the perfect strategy but you're not able to apply it? It simply means you have gaps in your personal way of doing it and you need to cover those gaps. You need to make those gaps your strengths rather than your weaknesses. The amount of times you trade per week, per month, the psychological toll whenever you enter trade before and after, the uh, the observation of a setup. Is it a C plus setup? Is it an A plus setup? Should I only take A plus setups? If so, how much am I willing to size in? What's the percentage of me sizing in when it comes to a C plus setup versus an A plus setup? If I don't see something on the chart when I wake up and I look at the charts for the next 10 seconds, if I hop on and I pull up my phone or I'm on my desktop and I see this and I look at it for 3 seconds, 3 to 10 seconds, I can already see what's going on here in 10 seconds. If I don't see what's going on in 10 seconds, then that just tells me that I either need to look a little bit deeper or I need to make the call that, hey, this is a little bit confusing for now. I think price needs to develop a little bit more and tell me a story, right? Tell me a story. Or if not, if I don't see anything, if I don't see a pattern, I just call it a day and I just leave, right? Some day traders prefer doing 5 trades a week. I prefer swing trading at this point. I used to day trade like intensely. I used to do 50 trades a month, 70 trades a month, and guess what? No results, right? I found a strategy back in January of this year, 2026. I learned about ICC. I adopted it. I'm using it as my new strategy. I've committed to it. I've learned that over the past 4 months, I had one profitable month, and the other 3 months, I was either egotistical. So I let myself get into my head. I was like, hey, you can win all these trades. You don't need to use every single A plus setup. You can go for C plus setups. And that was completely wrong. I also had gaps in my trading strategy. Hey, you should size in not too much if you're not confident in it, versus you should size in very appropriately whenever it comes to A plus setups, right? I never had a consistent strategy when it came to sizing in proportionally or responsibly when it came to C plus setups versus A plus setups. I shouldn't even be trading C plus setups in the first place, but I was. Right? I let my ego get to me. February and April were my worst trading months in terms of ICC. I definitely went off the rails in February. I got a little bit too cocky, and then April came. I got a little bit too egotistical. So it was me versus me for 2 out of the 5 months so far. Month 5, which is May of this month, I decided to switch gears around. I said, look, now I should only worry about taking X amount of trades per month, and I should limit myself to that. So that way I can feel a lot more intentional with my trades, so I can look for better setups that actually make sense. And exceeding that amount would tell me that I'm going against my psychological trading habits, which are good tendencies, and then crossing over that become bad tendencies, right? So what is that for me personally? Well, this is a documentation. I'm documenting this before everything happens. All the good things come about. I'm simply saying that for this point moving forward, it's no longer about, oh, do as many trades as you want. You're going to do it right. That's no longer the case on month 5. Some people, it takes a year, 2 years. Me genuinely trying, I'm on month 5, right? 7 months in, I'm technically on month 5. I started ICC the start of this year. Month 5, I said, look, from this point on, 3 trades max, but you gotta get like very good trades. Otherwise, do not exhaust 3 trades all the way, right? So let's look at the chart right now. Let's see what we're looking at. So as you can see, I made this illustration. I used a path tool to illustrate where exactly the price action was moving, where the market is heading. So my strategy with ICC, so the way I tailor it so that it fits my stress tolerance, right? Because it's ICC all around. Like everyone who learns ICC understands this. People, you don't even need to understand ICC. Market structure and trends, you can just go off of that. As you can see, if I take this apart from the actual chart, it literally just looks like a trend. That's all it is. And that's exactly what Bitcoin displayed. I trade Bitcoin. You know, some people trade NQ and ES, some people trade gold and silver, GBP, USD, you know, UDX, what is it? What's it called? UXY, or, you know, they trade commodities, stocks, indices. I just trade crypto because it's pure speculation, and it also has, let me rephrase that. There's still the element of speculation, which involves volatility. On top of that, there's now institutional backing, which means this competes with a lot of the other top assets because Bitcoin alone is a top asset. It's one of the top 10 assets as of right now, right? The couple other ones, you have gold, Nvidia, Tesla. I don't do stocks. Amazon, you have, you know, commodities, things of that nature. Everything I just mentioned, right? If we're talking strictly about Bitcoin, I understand that the hype is gone. We're currently at a phase where Bitcoin's experiencing a downtrend on the weekly. So on a macro level, you know, these are serious levels where long-term investors will consider buying up. They've considered it buying up here. They've considered it buying up here. If you don't believe me, look at everything that MicroStrategy is doing. They are bullish to Bitcoin investors, and they buy up every single dip they can. Here, here. That's not a dip. Here. Pretty much anywhere that starts to decline. If you look at all the purchases, MicroStrategy, basically what I'm saying is there's volume here and there's a lot of money being moved around, right? That goes with any other top asset, right? That's not what we're focused on as a day trader. Your job is to just get in and out of the market whenever you see fit, right? It's not something you can control. Only you can control the window in which you get in and get out. Like in terms of literally the entry moment and the exit moment. You are in control of, you're responsible for the moment you enter and the moment you exit. If something happens in the middle of it, it's 99% something you cannot control. The moment you control something is when you decide to press the button to get in, the moment you press the button to get out. If you have stop losses or take profits, that is also within your control. That's your responsibility, right? So all in all, to bluntly put it, this is a probability game. And just like anything that's probability, your job is to mitigate risk and to find a system that helps you navigate yourself through the weathers, the nature of the market. And you want the best risk management. You want the best discipline within yourself as a trader, because at the end of the day, it's your fault and you have to figure that shit out every single day. You got to have a whole system on top of that strategy that is a quote unquote winning strategy. Month 5, I figured out XYZ throughout the past few months. It was me versus me. It was, you know, poor fundamental analysis. It was poor technical analysis here and there. It's a really simple concept, and some points I got ahead of myself. Some points I only use one time frame. Now I use 3 time frames. I use the 4 hour, I use the 1 hour, and I use the 15 minute. How I got to this point, it took a lot of failures, and guess what? Being in the position I am, I now ended up becoming a swing trader. I only want to trade at least 3 to 4 trades a month max, right? 3 trades really. Right? 4 is a little bit pushy. 4 is very much pushing, but we have a, what's it called, a journal, a trading journal, so that we can hold ourselves accountable, right? And the goal every month, because it's still early, is to be net profitable, which means your job is to keep money in your pockets through and through, no matter what happens, right? You can have losses, you can have wins. Just be net profitable. And if there's nothing for that month, fuck it. That's a month where you can save money and then throw it back in the next month, right? I found a system. Dude, I've done this so many fucking times. I am numb. I've never done a prop firm. I've never genuinely put in a year or anywhere close to 4 months plus of paper trading. I don't use fake money. I don't use other people's money. I use my money. I use it straight from the job. I hustle and then I convert. Hustle, convert, right? And then I hustled, found a pool, saved a pool, converted, right? Because I wanted to understand the psychological path of what it means to be a true day trader without having to succumb to psychological, pushback. You know, oh, I'm not, if I do this trade, and it goes the other way, I'm fucking broke. I have to worry about car payments. I have to worry about this. I have to worry about that. Versus, okay, let's use 5% of the cash pool that we invested into trading. The risk and reward is going to be the exact same as anything else that is part of the strategy. Meaning, if I plan to go 1 to 3 or 1 to 2, I'm gonna stick to it, and then apply market strategy. Which for me, preferably is, okay. ICC is showing contradiction in this price action. I'm just gonna pull out, even if it means partials. Right? That's a part of my strategy. That's how I tailor it. Right? And thank God, shout out to Sai. ICC is an extremely obvious strategy, meaning you just use simple chart patterns to decipher the price action, right? And contrarily, if that even is a word, on the other hand, it's not so easy because sometimes it's really hard to catch whenever you got like for instance, I thought this was going down. What's it called? Like here, for instance, I remember looking at this and I didn't do a single trade here and I still lost because I think I did something like this, and then like let's pretend you understand ICC, right? Like I saw this, boom, boom, and then boom, right? So this would be the correction, this would be the continuation, quote unquote, right? Let's just keep it simple, and then I would just target the next level down. Well, guess what's wrong with this trade? For me, I understand that liquidity sweeps happen, but at the same time, I got greedy with the fact that I pretty much chopped up my stop level to where there was no room to breathe. Essentially, I am exposed to liquidity sweeps. I am exposed to market manipulation. I am exposed to the nature of the market. And thus, what happened? You have price moving in the direction I wanted and then sweeping stop losses before going back down to a buyer zone, right? That's how I got stopped out on something that I knew was going to happen. And then once it happened, right? And then it does exactly what you want again. It's easy, but then it's not, because you get in front of yourself. Like I get in front of myself because of my greed. I get in front of myself because of not letting the strategy do its part appropriately. I'm not giving it the room it deserves. That's why I'm losing out on obvious easy trades. Like here's the thing, bro. This entire price movement right here, like there was consolidation, then there was a hint of strength, and then we confirmed that hint of strength, right? That was the indication. We confirmed the hint of strength. Was it indication, correction, yada yada, and then daily shows positive, positive movement. Oops, excuse me. Daily shows a positive trend. If you look at the 4-hour, I'm just going through this real quick. There's consolidation here. I saw this price movement. I said, okay, bet. There's nothing really going on here besides support levels being supported through and through. Like here's a higher, here's a low, here's another low, here's a higher low, here's a higher low, here's a higher low. If you use the higher time frames, obviously, right? In the lower time frames, the 1 hour, 15 minute, you might not see that because it looks really choppy. Like that's obvious, right? And then if you're cautious and you're looking to long this, right? Let's say you long this, you're just looking for the next sell zone because that's what makes the most sense if price is respecting all the higher lows, right? Just purely using ICC. Guess what? Sai has an event going on tomorrow. I'm going to attend it where I get to ask him questions. Cool. I'm going to ask him about this because this is a big one. For me, it's when do you know when to wait and scale wins? Like in the midst of it being deep in profit. So like, what if price was here and then you saw this rejection? Well, ICC works no matter what. It works through and through, right? And then there's market manipulation. Then there's the nature of the market. If something happens like this happened, right? It was just an indication. But knowing me at the time, I sold, right? I sold this. And now I play it safer. This is me documenting, right? I play it safer. Some points, because I get to only trade 3 to 4 times a month. Some points, I used to just let like price close candles in the zone, and that to me was considered an indication, which it is. It definitely is. For it to be an even better trade because you want more check boxes. Remember, it's a probability game. I want the obvious indications of price wanting to push. I want the obvious indications of price wanting to make major support levels, right? Even though price pushed down here, right? What happened to this support level? Buyers stepped in here, right? Well, buyers stepped in here on the higher time frame. Let me remind you, and immediately bumped off of that, right? That doesn't mean anything yet until you look at the lower time frames. Like on the 4-hour, it just looks like a straight line. This chop was just a bunch of candlesticks moving up to create a bullish trend, and that's what broke out to sweep out these seller zones, right? And the higher time frame you go, the more you realize, oh, price is pushing up, like the support levels are being supported through and through. So I'm going off on a tangent, bro. Okay, listen. So let's scrap all of that. What are we at now? What's my goal here? Well, let me take a sip of my drink real quick. If we want to get to this goal, right? And let's say we start at this number, we're going to need to, and by the way, we're swing trading. We're going to need to spend a lot of time being patient, being consistent, right? And at these levels, like this number, you have to have something on the side that funds this. Like, if you're doing it at this level, first of all, you need to prove to yourself that you can handle consistency, right? Like, turn this to 2, turn this to 3, turn this to 4, turn this to 5, right? That's my job. I need to be able to protect it month over month. And that proves to me that my system that I created behind the strategy is built to be profitable and protected. I can ensure that me as a trader can successfully push this up and up and up and up, right? While I'm doing that, right, through trading power, while I'm doing that, I have other sources that help me push work, right? Push towards reaching my goal even faster, because it's a time game. Like, you're not going to be at this age forever, right? And your goal, doing this in the first place, is, for me, is to be free, to do whatever the fuck with no consequence. That's the ultimate goal, right? Just doing this, like, you gotta have a purpose before you do this. Otherwise, you're shooting blanks. Like, bro, if there's no purpose, like, what the fuck are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, everyone's doing this for their own reasons, but there's always a reason in the first place, right? For most people, it's about the money. Crazy enough, as crazy as it's about to sound, like, the way I am now pushing myself through this in order to make it, because it's all about the trader. It's all about making the trader as efficient as profitable. The way I approach it now is get to the target goal, right? Every time. What does that mean? It means, for me, trading is a game. It's no longer about, okay, when people say this, they don't literally mean forget about the money. Yes and no. Let me explain. when you're playing the game, I'm referring to trading, your job is to finish the side missions and the main missions. Your reward is the profits, right? Because you did everything, you had all the gear, you slayed the boss, and you win profit, right? As long as the entire thing through and through was built on a technical basis, like the way I played the game, I went through tons of experience. I have now tailored it to where I can beat this level every single time. And this is the threshold, right? This is as hard as it gets. This is actually like I'm cooking. This is as hard as it gets. And as long as I think of Elden Ring, like this is Millennia, like, or whatever the boss name is called. Oh, I forgot. But anyways, this is the boss, right? This is the hard part, quote unquote, that you need to beat. But it has its tendencies. It has random moves, aka market manipulation, aka nature of the market. But here and there, it gives tendencies. It shows patterns, right? When you fight it enough times, when you fight and die, fight and die. In Elden Ring, you fight and then you die and then you come back to life, right? When you fight the boss 1,000 fucking times, you are going to understand there are tendencies you can actually avoid just from being consistently present, showing up, actually applying yourself to the point where even though there's okay, this is a part where it might not stick through Elden Ring because I don't know if it's completely random, but let's just pretend there are random tendencies in the boss. If there's random tendencies here and there, but there's still a pattern, if you can beat the boss, right? Let's say you beat him, and then you want to repeat it because the rewards are sick, right? You get this cool sword and whatever. You beat the boss again, and then the third time you lose because random shit happened. But the fourth time you beat it again, motherfucker, that is trading on a very dumbed down, like, that concept alone is trading. It's probability risk management. It's I can beat this boss. There are some tendencies. I've honed the skills. If I use so and so this amount of times, we are gonna win. This amount of times we're gonna slay the boss. This amount of times I'll get this reward, right? Trading is no longer a money game at this point. Ultimately, the reward is money. But the way you engage with it, you should never think about the money process. Like, it's like now I don't even check my P&L mid trade. I would check it all the time. Bro, P&L is a fear and greed indicator. Like people, when their stop loss is getting edged, they freak the fuck out, and then they sometimes don't do what they were supposed to do, which was sit their ass down. They start clicking buttons. Same thing with greed, right? People wait it out, right? Imagine waiting for price here. Imagine you're longing, and you know price hit here, so then you long again here, and you're waiting and you're waiting. It's funny because this actually happened to me. You're waiting and you're waiting, and it just doesn't hit. You gotta know when to leave, right? And that clicked for me not too long ago. That fucking clicked for me. Like, it clicked for me right after this fucking trade. I was like, yo, the method disapproved that long position. ICC, in a sense, said, look, we've broken down. 4 hour, we've broken down. We came back up. This was news off of the Clarity Act, right? This is not technical. This is simply nature of the market. Came up, and then we shot back down. Price rejected, higher levels, right? It didn't even get past here, let alone this point. What does that tell you? Even though this correction happened and technically it's a higher high, this is just nature of the market. It immediately got rejected. Look at the lower time frames. Look at this price movement, bro. Tell me What does this entail when it comes to liquidity sweeps and market manipulation? There is none. It is so fucking consistent the entire way around. Look at this. Look at how straight this shit is, bro. It's easy until it's not. And then the job is to make it easy enough. The job is to make it easy enough so that you can do it every time, if not most times. The result is net profit. The result is net profit. That's it. And that's going to wrap it up for this. I made this video to document my entire psychological strategy, my thought process, my mental, like, look, bro, it's easier than people think. Most people run into, I'm not gonna go off on a tangent. I'm gonna just keep it there. We'll do that for another video, but that's pretty much how it works, man. I'm gonna post more documentation on how I go about this. This is the goal. We're currently sitting way below this. We'll get to this. I don't care when we'll get to this, but we'll get to this. My job is to make sure I can prove to myself that the concept can be done again and again and again and again with the way I do it. The foundation remains true through and through, meaning ICC will always remain intact with however I tailor it, right? When I say I tailor it, I'm talking about the amount of trades I do, my risk management, my mental discipline, my psychological engagement for every trade, whether or not I should monitor or stay away to avoid looking at P&Ls. Like, that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about psychological engagement, right? Oh, man, I'm gonna just leave it there. Right now, this is the last thing before I close the vid. If I look back at this, like maybe a year later, this is what I currently think about price action now, and then I'll probably look at this a month later, this video, and then it'll tell me everything, and I'm like, oh, well, I guess it did that. So using the 4 hour, 1 hour, 15 minute, this is how I'm currently engaging with the market. So I don't have a play right now. I am not in a position. What I would want to see is price range back up in this position, right? So the 4 hour kicks in back into this range, which is the indication zone, because this was the previous high, right? So we have a low here, a high here, and a lower low here, right? Basically a lower low here, right? I don't really count this because there's not much of an opportunity here. Like, it technically counts, but I would not do any trade in this position, so it doesn't matter. What I do want on a larger scale, because I even include the daily if I absolutely need to. There's room for price to move up, right? And you see these wicks? It's telling me that buyers are starting to step in. The next area for buyers is this range. On the daily, it's up here. On the 4 hour, it's down here, right? Buyers are stepping in this zone. So there is no reason for me to short right now because I'm running off of nothing. What I would want to see is price come back in this range, right? This would be the indication, because this was the entire structure. This was the zone in which buyers were sitting, and it just got broken out, right? We are going to see buyers step in at some point. It could be up to here. It can be back into the correction zone, right? But we're going to see buyers step in. Now, what happens after? I'm going to dig into the lower time frames, and I'm going to decipher. I'm going to analyze. I'm going to observe, right? What does price want to do now? Is it going to be bullish and create structure, right? Create a support zone? Because if it does, then that probably will indicate that it's going to retest this level, this sell zone, right? If that's not the case, what I would want to see for a proper trade, for me personally, because it aligns with the daily time frame, because the daily is now testing a bearish trend. Technically, we already reached a bearish trend because we created a low, high, low, right? No, I'm sorry, we haven't confirmed while we are in the middle of confirming a bearish trend on the daily. We're bearish on the 4 hour and the 1 hour, but not the daily. So what I would want to see is price come back into the zone, create probably a big yellow candle towards this area, which would be the correction zone, in my opinion, because the 4 hour, this would be the this is the indication zone because I'm using this support level as a reference point for where buyers are sitting. And then price is going to come back up. This is how I want to see it. Price is going to come back up. Do whatever the fuck it needs to do. It's going to consolidate. I'd want to see some consolidation. This is a big bonus. If it fails to get up to here, I'd want to see it float around here. Right? I want to see price float around here. And then consolidate. Open up the lower time frames of 1 hour 15. Look for the downtrend. Look for confirmation on a downtrend. Maybe even the 15-minute. This zone right here is my short position. Right? Set the stop loss right above. Set the take profit right here. And notice how the RR is 1.46. Or really to play it safe, I put it right here. Right? 1.34. If it's 1.34, I know that I'm not going to get a juicy profit amount. I don't care about that. What I do know is that this is a sweet trade because price came down and wanted to come down even further, but buyers stepped up. Guess what? Buyers are sitting here and they're sitting here. If price begins to reject again, I have the opportunity to step in the indication zone and to play off the daily, right? To play off the daily and to retest the lows. Get in a position here short. Play off the 1 hour and 4 hour confirmation for a daily down. I'm sorry, not a daily, for a downtrend. And then retarget lows. Let's say buyers step in, right? Let's say this is the zone, right? This would be the zone, but let's say this is the zone. Technically, it is a zone if we push up. Let's say this is a zone. And buyers decide to push off here. Okay. It could be instant. There could be an imbalance, right? I have to make a decision because I'm in profit. Hey, I don't care how much it is. If it's confirming an uptrend at this point, fucking take profit. Just take profit. Don't lose yourself, right? Versus, take this out. If we start to see an imbalance and create further price action further down. Okay, we broke these levels. Great. We hit TP. Great. Take profits, right? Or at least take partials. Because the 1 hour and 4 hour are bearish once again. Take profits, right? In terms of ICC, it's still technically, if it's broken down these levels, it's still technically a bearish trend. So mostly I would take profits, take partials, and then I'll just hold on the bag until we get to a reasonable. What I mean by reasonable on a fundamental basis is a technical point of support. So that would mean this zone. This would be the next zone. Right fucking here. That would be the next zone. Right. So yeah. But I'm gonna end this video here and I'm gonna talk more about everything that I need to document in terms of this entire journey on the next video. This is month 5 of ICC. And I genuinely believe that I've cracked it down to where I understand it enough, my own preferences, to where I can trade to the best of my ability and actually turn profit. Turned profit in March, got in my head April. This is comeback season. We're here to win. So let's win.